Welcome. If you found this video today, I want you to stop for just a moment before we begin. Take a slow breath. You don't need to rush. You don't need to prove anything to be here. You are already exactly where you are supposed to be, and that is not an accident. What is important is the message I carry for you today. This is a message that comes wrapped in the voice of Archangel Michael. The great protector, the commander of heaven's armies, the one Scripture calls the prince who stands guard over God's people. And today, his message is simple, and it is personal, and it is specifically for the season you are walking through right now. Before we go even one step further, if this channel has ever brought a word to your life that landed at exactly the right moment, please hit the like button right now. That small act tells the algorithm to keep sending this message to the people who need it. You may not know who else is watching, but someone out there is carrying something heavy today, and you're like maybe the reason this video finds them. So go ahead, like it now, and let's begin. God has not forgotten you. Say that again to yourself. God has not forgotten you. I know that is hard to believe sometimes. When the silence stretches long and the answers don't come and the bills keep arriving and the relationships keep fracturing and the prayers seem to bounce off the ceiling, in those moments, the lie becomes very loud. The lie says you've been overlooked. The lie says you prayed too late, believed too small, failed too many times. The lie has a very convincing voice. But Archangel Michael was not sent to bring you lies. He was sent to bring you truth. And the truth is that heaven has been watching your life with extraordinary attention. Every tear has been counted. Every prayer has been filed. Every honest cry in the middle of the night has reached the throne of God, and not one of them has been ignored. Today's message is not about pressure. It is not about fear. It is not about a deadline. It is about a door that is standing wide open in front of you, and the only thing Michael asks is that you be still long enough to see it. So let's go deeper. Let's go together. And let's discover what heaven has been saying about your life. Subscribe to this channel right now if you want to keep receiving messages like this one, messages that go beyond the noise and bring something real to your spirit. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a word that was meant for you. In the book of Daniel, chapter 10, we read one of the most remarkable scenes in all of Scripture. A man, the prophet Daniel, had been fasting and praying and seeking God for 21 days. 21 days of no answers. 21 days of silence. He did not stop. He did not quit. He kept pressing in. And then an angel came to him and said something that should permanently change the way you think about unanswered prayer. The angel said, "From the first day that you set your heart to understand and humbled yourself before your God, your words were heard, and I have come because of your words." Daniel chapter 10, verse 12. Hear that. From the first day. Not after 21 days of enough fasting. Not after the prayer became polished enough. Not after Daniel earned a response. From the very first day he cried out, heaven moved. The answer was already on its way. But there was resistance. There was a battle in the unseen realm. And it took 21 days for the messenger to break through. And then, and this is the part one need you to really receive, the angel told Daniel. Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me. Archangel Michael showed up. Not because Daniel was a superhero of faith, but because Daniel was a faithful person who refused to stop praying. And Michael came to cut through the resistance and make sure the answer arrived. You have been praying. Maybe not for 21 days. Maybe for 21 months. Maybe for years. And maybe the silence has made you wonder if anything is moving. Today, Michael says, it is moving. It has always been moving. And breakthrough is closer than you think. Type the word Michael in the comments right now if you felt something shift in your spirit just now. That word in the comments is your declaration that you believe your prayers have been heard, and they have. Now I want to bring you to the heart of today's message. 7 declarations. 7 words from heaven's commander over your life right now. Receive each one slowly. Let it land. Let it do what it came to do. Declaration 1, your protection is real and it is active. There is an ancient Hebrew name for God that appears in the book of Exodus and again in the Psalms, Elkanah. It means the passionate, jealous God. A God who is fiercely protective of those who belong to him. And Archangel Michael is the embodiment of that protective assignment in the angelic realm. Psalm 91 says, "He will command his angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways. On their hands they will bear you up, lest you strike your foot against a stone." This is not poetry. This is operational reality. Think back over the last year of your life. How many times did something nearly go wrong, and then didn't? How many accidents that didn't happen? How many conversations that should have destroyed everything, and somehow resolved? How many moments where you felt something watching over you, something keeping you? That was not luck. That was not coincidence. That was assignment. Michael's armies are not theoretical. They are deployed. They are active. And they have been around your life, your household, your family, with more consistency than you know. You are not unprotected. You never have been. Even in the worst seasons, especially in the worst seasons, the protection was there. Not always removing the storm, but always ensuring you survived it. Always making sure the storm did not finish you. Today, Michael says, you are covered. The enemy has made attempts on your peace, your mind, your health, your relationships, and every single time, something held. Something kept you. That something has a name, and its name is the faithfulness of God expressed through angelic assignment. Receive this word. You are protected. Now and going forward. Like this video if declaration 1 landed in your spirit. Let the algorithm know this message is worth spreading. Declaration 2, the warfare you have been sensing is real. And you are winning. There is a reason this season has felt so heavy. There is a reason some days feel like you are walking through water, like every step costs twice as much energy as it should. There is a reason that peace seems harder to find, that sleep is sometimes interrupted, that you've had that low-level sense of something pressing against you. You have been in a battle. But here is what Michael needs you to understand. The intensity of the battle is always proportional to the value of what is being contested. The enemy does not deploy heavy resistance against things that don't matter. He doesn't exhaust his strategies on people whose lives are going nowhere. He presses hardest against the people who carry the most, the intercessors, the ones walking towards something significant, the ones whose breakthrough would become a testimony that shifts others. Ephesians 6 verse 12 says, "For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the cosmic powers over this present darkness, against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly places." This is not a metaphor. This is the actual structure of spiritual conflict. And Paul, who walked in more supernatural experience than most, said this clearly so that we would understand: the resistance is not random. It is organized. It has hierarchy. It has specific assignments against specific people. You are one of those people. But here is the other side of that truth: if the enemy has been pressing you this hard, it means heaven has assigned significant things to your story. And Michael's word today is that the battle you have been in is turning. The tide is shifting. The resistance that has felt so solid is beginning to crack. Not because you finally did everything perfectly, but because the appointed time is moving, and God's calendar does not wait for convenient moments. You are not losing this fight. You are winning it. And you are closer to the breakthrough than the weight of the battle has made you feel. Type the word winning in the comments right now. Type it as a declaration over your life, not because you feel it fully yet, but because it is true. And declarations spoken in faith have a way of catching up with reality faster than silence ever does. Declaration 3: Your provision is being arranged. Do not give up in the waiting. Money. Resources. Financial breakthrough. I know this is one of the heaviest places of burden for many people watching today. And I want to speak to it directly, honestly, and with the full weight of what heaven is saying. God is Jehovah Jireh. That name, first used in Genesis 22 when Abraham climbed the mountain with Isaac and found the ram in the thicket, means the Lord who provides. But here is something important in the original Hebrew: the name does not just mean the Lord who will provide. It means the Lord who sees ahead and prepares. It speaks of provision that was arranged before the need was fully visible. Abraham did not know the ram was in the thicket. He did not see it on the way up the mountain. He went in faith, and the provision was already waiting, hidden in the bushes, already prepared, already placed there by the God who sees ahead. Your provision is in the thicket. It has already been arranged. The ram is already there. You cannot see it yet because the timing has not yet made it visible. But it is there. It was placed there before you started climbing. Philippians 4 verse 19 says it plainly: "And my God will supply every need of yours according to his riches in glory in Christ Jesus." Every need. Not some needs. Not the spiritual needs while you figure out the physical ones on your own. Every need. According to his riches, not according to the economy, not according to your job situation, not according to what is visible in the natural right now. Stop measuring your provision by what is currently visible. Start measuring it by the character and the track record of the God who has never once broken a covenant promise. Every need you have presented to heaven has been noted. Every specific lack has been seen. And the arrangement is already in motion. Hold on. The ram is in the thicket. Subscribe to this channel if this message is bringing something alive in you today. We release words like this regularly, not to manufacture emotion, but to carry real spiritual encouragement to real people walking through real difficulty. Hit subscribe and stay connected. Declaration 4: The relationships that were lost or damaged are being redeemed. Some of you came to this video carrying the weight of a relationship. A marriage that is strained or broken. A child who walked away. A friendship that shattered. A parent who doesn't understand you. A partnership that dissolved in pain. And the grief of that loss, however long ago it happened, still lives somewhere in your chest. You have prayed about it. You have maybe stopped praying about it because it hurt too much to keep hoping. And you have wondered if that chapter is just closed. Michael's word for you on this is one of the most tender things heaven carries. God is the God of restoration. Not just of things, not just of finances, not just of health, but of relationships. Of people. Of the connections that mattered and broke. The book of Joel, chapter 2, verse 25, I will restore to you the years that the swarming locust has eaten. The locust in that text is a picture of destruction, the thing that came and consumed what was growing. And God's word through Joel to a devastated people was not start over from scratch. It was, I will restore what was eaten. I will give back what was taken. This is a God who restores years. Not just moments. Years. I want to be honest with you here, restoration does not always mean the exact form you lost. Sometimes it means the relationship itself is healed and rebuilt. Sometimes it means God brings someone new who fills the role with even greater depth. Sometimes it means the wound in your heart from what was lost is healed so completely that you are free in a way you could not have been if the loss had not happened. But in every case, what heaven does not do is leave you permanently diminished. The enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy. But Jesus, and by extension the armies of heaven led by Michael, come to bring life, and life more abundantly. That word abundantly in the Greek is perissos. It means exceeding what is necessary, overflowing, more than enough. Not just replacement. Overflow. Something is being restored in your relational world. Be open to it. Be watchful for it. And don't assume it has to look exactly like what was lost. The restoration God does is almost always better than the original. Like this video right now if you are standing for a restored relationship. Let that like be your declaration of faith that God is moving in this area of your life. Declaration 5. Your calling is not cancelled, it has just been forming. This one is for the person who has a dream that feels like it died. A vision that was real, you know it was real, but time has passed and nothing has moved and people around you have moved on and even you have started to wonder if you made it all up. You didn't make it up. Joseph had a dream when he was 17 years old. God gave him a vision, a picture of his future, of the assignment that was on his life. And then everything went wrong. His brothers sold him into slavery. He was taken to Egypt, a foreign land, a foreign culture, separated from everyone he knew. He was falsely accused by Potiphar's wife and thrown into prison. He correctly interpreted the dreams of 2 fellow prisoners, and the one who could have helped him forgot him for 2 full years. From dream to palace, it took approximately 13 years. 13 years from the vision to the fulfillment. And in between. Slavery, betrayal, false accusation, imprisonment, forgotten favor. But when the moment came, when Pharaoh had his dream and needed an interpreter, Joseph was the only name that came up. Because those 13 years had not been wasted years. They had been forming years. Every difficult season had been building capacity, character, and wisdom that Joseph could not have carried the calling without. Genesis 50 verse 20, Joseph, looking back on all of it, said to his brothers, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives." God had been working through every single broken, painful, confusing season, working it toward the fulfillment of the original dream. Your calling has not been cancelled. The delays have not been punishment. The detours have not been evidence that God changed his mind. They have been the forming process for someone who is going to carry something significant. And significant things require significant preparation. Michael's word to you today: the dream is still alive. And the season of fulfillment is closer than the years of delay have made it feel. Type the word dream in the comments if you are still holding on to something God put in your heart, something that hasn't happened yet, something you refuse to fully release. Type dream and let that be your declaration that you are still believing. Declaration 6: Your health is in God's hands. And those hands are healing ones. I want to speak carefully and honestly here, because health is not a topic that deserves shallow treatment. Some of you are walking through something serious, a diagnosis, a chronic condition, a body that is not cooperating, fear about what the future holds physically. And I do not want to offer you empty platitudes. Exodus 15 verse 26, God reveals his name to the Israelites as Jehovah Rapha. I am the Lord, your healer. This is not a promise about an occasional healing. It is a revelation of God's nature. Healing is built into who He is. The capacity to restore, to repair, to bring health, it is not an add-on feature of the divine. It is core to His identity. And Psalm 103 verse 3 speaks of God as the one who forgives all your iniquity, who heals all your diseases. Not some diseases. Not the convenient ones. All. We live in a world where healings don't always come in the time frame or the manner we expect. And part of walking in faith in the area of health is learning to hold two things at the same time: absolute trust in God's healing nature, and acceptance that His ways are not always our ways and His timing is not always our timing. What Michael declares today is this: your body is known by the God who created it. Every cell, every system, every struggle, He sees it. He is not unmoved by your physical pain. And He has resources for your health that go beyond what is visible in the natural. Peace that reduces anxiety, rest that heals what stress destroys, and yes, supernatural intervention that confounds the natural prognosis. Receive this declaration in faith: God is Jehovah Rapha. He is your healer. And whatever you are walking through physically, you are not walking through it alone. Subscribe to this channel if you are believing God for healing, for yourself or someone you love. And turn on notifications so that when the next message comes, you receive it immediately. We are walking this journey together. Declaration 7: This season is ending, a new one is beginning. This is the seventh and final declaration, and it may be the one that your spirit has most been waiting to hear. Whatever this season has been, and only you and God know the full weight of what you have been carrying, it has not been the end of your story. It has been a chapter. And chapters end. Seasons turn. And the God who ordered the seasons of the earth is also the God who orders the seasons of a human life. Ecclesiastes 3 verse 1, For everything there is a season, and a time for every matter under heaven. Every season has a time. That means no season is permanent. No winter lasts forever. No valley is without an exit. No night goes on without a morning. Michael is declaring something more specific today. He is saying that the specific season many of you have been in, the one characterized by heaviness, by waiting, by unanswered questions, by feeling like you are in a holding pattern with no clearance to land, that season is releasing its grip. Something is shifting. Not gradually, over many more years. Something is shifting now, in this period, in this time. The circumstances may not have changed yet when you finish watching this video. But something in the spirit has moved. Something in the arrangement of heaven over your story has changed posture. And what you are going to begin to see, in the coming days and weeks, are signs of that shift becoming visible in the natural. They may be small signs at first. A door that opens unexpectedly. A conversation that comes from nowhere. A burden that lifts in a way you can't fully explain. A peace that returns after a long absence. Pay attention to those signs. Acknowledge them. Thank God for them. They are the first visible expressions of a shift that has already happened in the unseen. And they are pointing toward more. A new season is coming for you. It is already on its way. And it carries in it things that will make you look back at this moment and say, that was the day something changed. Like this video right now if you receive this declaration. Let your like be a seal over this word. Now I want to offer you something grounding, not manufactured proof, but genuine markers that can help you recognize when a spiritual message is genuinely landing on your life. Sign 1, you almost didn't watch. Something almost stopped you. You almost scrolled past. You were about to do something else and something made you pause. That pattern. The thing that almost prevented you from receiving a word, is worth noticing. The enemy is not neutral about messages that carry real light. He gets busy around content that does. If something resisted you receiving this, pay attention to that. The resistance was information. Sign 2, something in this message hit a very specific nerve. Not a general feeling of inspiration. Something that landed on a specific situation in your life. Something you have been praying about, thinking about, worrying about. When a message from God finds you, it is rarely generic. It names the thing. If one of those 7 declarations put a finger on something specific in your life, that specificity is itself evidence that this message was sent with you in mind. Sign 3, you felt something shift while you were listening. Not an emotion manufactured by dramatic music or high-pressure language. Something quieter. A release, a softening, a sense of being seen. When the Spirit of God moves on a word, there is a quality to it that is distinct from being simply inspired by content. If there was a moment where something in you settled, pay attention to that. Sign 4, you thought of someone else while listening. Sometimes God gives us a word for ourselves and simultaneously makes us carry it to someone else. If a name or a face came to mind, that is worth following. Send this to them. Share it. Be the delivery mechanism for a word that someone in your life may desperately need today. Sign 5, you don't want to leave this space. There is something in you that wants to stay here, in this message, a little longer. That desire is not weakness. That is your spirit recognizing something real and being reluctant to rush back into the noise. Type the word yes in the comments if 3 or more of these signs apply to you. And if all 5 are true for you today, then know this. Heaven specifically routed this message to you, and what has been declared over your life today carries weight. Hold it. Stand on it. Let it anchor you. Now I want to share with you several testimonies, real patterns from real people who walked through the kinds of seasons we've been talking about. Testimony 1. A woman in her mid-50s had been praying for her son for nearly 12 years. He had walked away from faith, from family, from every anchor in his life. He was living in a destructive pattern and had cut off contact. She prayed every morning. She prayed every night. And for 12 years, nothing visibly changed. She almost stopped. She told a friend, I feel like I'm shouting into a void. I don't know if any of this is reaching anyone. Her friend said, Daniel prayed for 21 days and didn't hear back. Keep going. She kept going. And in the 13th year, on a completely ordinary Tuesday with no particular setup, her son called. He called from a place he had been brought to, somewhere between brokenness and readiness, and he said, "Mom, I want to come home. I want to find my way back." She didn't know, she couldn't have known, that for years, every prayer she prayed was landing somewhere. Every tear she cried was moving something in the unseen realm. The battle was real. The delay was real. But so was the breakthrough, when it finally came. She says this now. "I used to read about Daniel's 21 days and think, I could do 21 days. 12 years felt like a different category entirely. But the God who heard Daniel on day 1 heard me on year 1. He just had more to work through." Like this video if this testimony strengthens your faith to keep praying for the person who hasn't come back yet. Your consistency in prayer is not wasted. It is working. Testimony 2. A young couple, early 30s, 2 small children. Lost their business in a period of about 6 months. The business they had spent 5 years building simply collapsed. They lost the business, then the income, then the house. They moved into a relative's basement with their children and tried to figure out what came next. The husband said, "I remember sitting in that basement and thinking, God, I prayed over every decision. I asked you into every part of this. How did we get here?" They stayed in community. They stayed in prayer. Though it was angrier and less polished than it had been before. They were honest with God about the confusion and the grief. And slowly, not immediately, not dramatically, doors began to open. Within 18 months they were rebuilding. Within 3 years, the new thing they were building was larger and more stable than what they had lost. And they will tell you today that what they found in that basement, a kind of stripped-down, undecorated faith that didn't depend on outcomes, is more valuable than the business that came back. The wife says, "We used to say we trusted God. Now we know we trust God. Those are different things." Subscribe to this channel if this testimony resonates with where you are, in the rebuilding, in the basement season, trying to find what comes next. You are not alone in this. And what God is building in you through it will outlast what was lost. Testimony 3. A man in his early 40s received a diagnosis that came with a limited prognosis. The doctors were honest and kind, and they told him what they could do and what they couldn't. He left that appointment and sat in his car for a long time. He made a decision in that car, not a denial of the diagnosis, not a refusal to engage with medicine, but a decision to also bring the situation fully before God and to position himself to receive whatever heaven had for him. He got prayer from people he trusted. He found Psalm 91 and read it every day. He was honest with God about his fear. He did not perform faith, he simply stayed close to the source of it. The next round of scans showed something that confused the doctors. And then the round after that showed more of the same. He is now several years past that car park moment, living a life that the original prognosis would not have predicted. He doesn't claim to have the full theological explanation for why his story went this way when others don't. He holds that with humility. But what he says is, "I know I was not alone in that car. And I know that what I found in those months, the closeness to God, the stripping away of everything that was false, I would not trade it for the health I would have had if none of it had happened." Type healed in the comments if you are believing God for a physical breakthrough, for yourself or someone you love. Let that word stand as your declaration. Testimony 4. A couple had separated after 9 years of marriage. Both had made mistakes. Both had caused real pain. The separation stretched to over a year and the divorce papers were in motion. They did not choose to reconcile because someone told them to. They chose it because both of them, independently, in the midst of the separation, had encounters with God that softened something in them. Not a manufactured religious feeling. Something real. Something that broke through the armor of their hurt. They came back to the table. Not to pretend nothing had happened. Not to go back to what was broken. To build something different, with the same two people, but with the accumulated wisdom of what had gone wrong and the genuine desire to get it right. It was not easy. It took months of difficult, honest work. But they are together today, and they say the marriage they have now is not the marriage they had before, it is something better. Something that could only have been forged through what they went through. The husband says, "I don't recommend the path. But I can tell you, God was in that separation, working on both of us simultaneously. When we came back together, we were both different people. Like this video if you are standing for a marriage, yours or someone else's. Let that like be a declaration that you believe God is the God of restoration, even for relationships that look impossibly broken." Testimony 5. A young woman had a clear sense from the time she was in her early 20s of the work she was meant to do in the world. She could articulate it. She had taken steps toward it. And for nearly a decade, every step forward seemed to result in 2 steps back. Wrong timing. Wrong partnerships. Wrong seasons. She questioned herself constantly. She questioned God regularly. She almost pivoted completely, almost chose a safe, comfortable path that had nothing to do with the original vision. And something stopped her. Not a dramatic sign. Just a quiet sense, not yet. Don't close this door yet. She held on. And in her early 30s, the pieces began to assemble in a way that no amount of striving could have forced. The right people, the right timing, the right circumstances, all of it arrived in a cluster, as if it had been held in reserve for the moment she was finally ready to carry it. She says now, the decade of delay was not God withholding. It was God building the foundation that the vision required. I understand now, what I was asking for at 22 would have crushed me. What I received at 32, I was ready for. The vision is not dead. The dream is in holding, being prepared for the moment you can fully carry it. Type dream in the comments if this testimony is for you. And if you need to share this with someone who is on the verge of giving up on what God placed in them, send this to them right now. Be the person who arrives with a word of encouragement at exactly the right moment. Now let me take a moment to ground all of this in the actual text of Scripture, because the ministry of angels is not a New Age concept or a spiritual trend. It is woven through the Bible from Genesis to Revelation, and understanding it properly changes the way you see your everyday life. 1 Kings, chapter 19. The prophet Elijah had just experienced one of the greatest victories in the history of Israel, fire from heaven, the prophets of Baal defeated, rain breaking a 3-year drought. And then the threats came from Queen Jezebel, and something broke in him. He ran. He ran into the wilderness, sat down under a tree, and asked God to let him die. "I have had enough, Lord," he said. "Take my life." And then, this is the part one want you to notice, what did God send? An angel. The angel touched him and said, "Arise and eat." There was bread baked on coals and a jar of water. The angel fed him. physically, practically. And then let him sleep. And then the angel came again, a second time, and said, "Arise and eat, for the journey is too great for you." God's response to a prophet in burnout, in despair, asking to die, was not a theological lecture. It was food. Rest. Tender, practical care. Delivered by an angel. The journey is too great for you. God is not surprised by the weight of your journey. He is not standing at a distance wondering why you can't handle it better. He knows the journey is too great. And He sends provision, practical, tangible, unexpected provision, to people who are sitting exhausted under the tree. Michael's ministry in your life may show up in ways that look thoroughly ordinary. A check that arrives, a friend who calls with exactly the right word, an idea that surfaces that solves a problem you've been stuck on. Don't be so focused on waiting for the dramatic that you miss the angel in the practical. Like this video if the story of Elijah speaks to where you are right now. Exhausted. Maybe at the end of your rope. Feeling like the journey has been too great. The angel is coming with bread and water. Stay under your tree a little longer. Genesis 32. Jacob was at a crisis point in his life. He was about to face his brother Esau, the brother he had cheated years before, the brother who had every reason to want revenge. And the night before that confrontation, alone at the ford of the Jabbok River, a man appeared and wrestled with him. They wrestled until daybreak. And Jacob, despite being touched on the hip and having it put out of socket, refused to let go. He said, "I will not let you go unless you bless me." The wrestling partner said, "Your name shall no longer be called Jacob, but Israel, for you have striven with God and with men, and have prevailed." Here is what I want to pull out for you today. Sometimes the wrestling is the blessing. Sometimes the thing that feels like God is pushing back, like the answer is not coming easily, like you are straining against something that won't release. Sometimes that wrestling is the very thing that is changing you at the deepest level. Jacob limped away from that encounter. But he limped away with a new name, a new identity, and a blessing that would shape the rest of his life and the lives of generations after him. You may be limping. The wrestling may have cost you something. But if you have held on, if you have refused to let go even when everything in you wanted to, then you are carrying a blessing that was forged in that wrestling. And the new name you carry on the other side of this may be more significant than the name you carried into it. Subscribe to this channel if the story of Jacob connects with your current season. And turn on all notifications so you don't miss the messages that are coming, because there is more to receive in this season than you have yet seen. Acts, chapter 12. The Apostle Peter was in prison. Herod had already executed James. Peter was next. He was bound with chains between two soldiers, and guards stood at the door. The church was praying for him. Not just a few people. The text says the church gathered and prayed earnestly. And then an angel appeared. Light in the cell. A tap on the side. Get up quickly. The chains fell off. Put on your sandals. Wrap your cloak around you. Follow me. And they walked through the prison, past the first guard, past the second guard, through the iron gate that opened by itself, and out into the city. Peter thought he was dreaming. He only realized it was real when the angel left him standing in the street. What I love about this story is its practicality. The angel said, "Put on your sandals. Wrap your cloak. Follow me. Get dressed for the journey before you fully understand where you are going." Sometimes God's breakthrough requires that level of practical, obedient movement. Get ready. Do the next thing. Wrap your cloak. Trust that the iron gate you cannot push open on your own is going to open. And notice what the church was doing while Peter was in prison. They were praying earnestly, gathered together. And the angel showed up not in the prayer meeting, but in the prison. The prayer of the church released something that moved in the unseen realm and showed up in the most practical, physical way possible. Your prayers, and the prayers of the people who are standing with you, are moving things you cannot see. The iron gate is already loosened. The angel is already in the cell. The question is, are your sandals on? Are you ready to walk out when the door opens? Now here is a practical framework for how to position yourself to fully receive what heaven has been arranging for your life. Step 1. Settle the foundation. Before anything else, before strategy or action or declaration, settle who you are in relationship with. If your relationship with God has drifted, bring it back. Not through performance or religious effort, but through honest conversation. You don't need perfect words. You need honest ones. Wherever you are. Confused, grateful, angry, hopeful, exhausted, bring the actual version of you back to the conversation. God is not interested in a cleaned-up presentation. He is interested in you. Spend 10 to 15 minutes today in honest prayer. Not a list of requests. Just presence. Just honest words. Tell him where you actually are. Step 2. Renew your mind with specific scriptures. Romans 12 verse 2 says we are transformed by the renewing of our minds. What occupies your mind shapes what you see as possible, which shapes what you pursue, which shapes what you experience. Choose 3 scriptures, just 3, that speak directly to the area of your life that most needs breakthrough. Write them down. Read them daily. Not as a magic formula, but as an intentional re-exposure of your mind to what is actually true, until what is true becomes more present in your thinking than what is fearful. Psalm 91 for protection. Philippians 4:19 for provision. Jeremiah 29 verse 11 for hope and a future. Psalm 103 for healing. Choose the ones that speak most directly to where you are. Step 3. Speak declaration over your life. This is not positive thinking. This is biblical. Proverbs 18 verse 21 says the tongue has the power of life and death. Romans 4 describes Abraham, who against all hope, in hope believed and called things that were not as though they were. Speak out loud, not in desperation, but in faith. The things that are true about your life according to what God has declared. I am protected. My provision is arranged. My calling has not been cancelled. A new season is beginning. Speak it daily. Speak it until it reshapes your internal atmosphere. Step 4. Stay in community. Hebrews 10 verse 25 says not to neglect gathering together, especially as the day approaches. Isolation is the enemy's preferred terrain. He does his best work when you are cut off from the people who would speak life to you, carry your faith when yours is low, and remind you of who you are when you've forgotten. Find your community. If you don't have one, ask God to send one. Stay connected to people who are walking the same direction you are walking. You are not designed to carry this alone. Step 5. Watch for the signs and acknowledge them. Begin watching for the signs of movement in your life. Small things. Unexpected things. The conversation that comes out of nowhere. The door that opens when you weren't pushing. The peace that returns in a moment of quiet. Acknowledge these. Don't rush past them. Write them down. Tell someone about them. The practice of noticing and acknowledging small movements of God builds a posture of attentiveness that makes you more available to receive the larger ones. Gratitude is not just good manners. It is a posture that opens the next layer of blessing. Type the word ready in the comments if you are positioning yourself to receive what has been arranged for your life. Let ready be your declaration that you are not a passive observer of your story. You are an active participant in what God is doing. And now, this is the closing word of today's message. I want to speak it as directly as I know how, and I want you to receive it as the words of a God who has been watching your life with care and attention and who sent this message to find you today. You are loved. Not as a concept. Not as a theological category. Loved, specifically, personally, with full knowledge of every detail of your life, every failure in your past, every fear in your present, every uncertainty about your future. Loved with the kind of love that does not diminish when you are unlovable, does not withdraw when you are weak, does not calculate the cost before deciding to stay. You are seen. Heaven does not watch your life from a disengaged distance. The God of Scripture is described repeatedly as the one who hears, who sees, who knows, who bends down to listen. The Psalms are full of the language of a God who is intimately present with his people, not just generally present in the universe, but specifically present in the details of a single human life. Your life. This is not a mass broadcast. This is a personal word. You are equipped. Whatever you have been called to, whatever that dream, that vision, that quiet knowing in the deepest part of you is pointing toward, you will not be sent into it without what you need. The God who calls is the God who equips. Every gap in your capacity, every lack of resource, every place where you feel inadequate, those are not disqualifications. They are the places where God's sufficiency most clearly displays itself. You are not too late. This may be the lie that has done the most damage, the one that says the window has closed, the time has passed, you've missed it. That lie is entirely false. Revelation 21 verse 5, Behold, I am making all things new. Not all new things. All things new. The things that feel used up and past and done, being made new. Including your situation. Including your timeline. Including the parts of your story that look like they've been concluded. You are going to be okay. And more than okay. Heaven's arrangement for your life is not a mediocre arrangement. The God who authored your story had something specific in mind when he placed you here, at this time, with these gifts, in these circumstances, and that something specific is worth showing up for. Worth holding on for. Worth getting out from under the weight of the lie for. Michael says, get up. It is time to walk forward. Not in striving. Not in fear. Not in the desperate energy of someone trying to make something happen before it's too late. In faith. In the settled confidence of someone who knows who walks with them. In the quiet assurance of a person who has heard the word of God over their life and has decided to believe it. Get up. A new season is here. Walk into it. Now speak these declarations out loud if you can. Speak them slowly. Let each one land. I am protected by the God who never sleeps and never leaves. My provision is arranged. The ram is in the thicket. I will not run out. Every relationship of significance in my life is under the redemptive care of a God who restores what the locust has eaten. My calling has not been cancelled. The delay has been forming, not defeating me. My health is held in the hands of Jehovah Rapha, the God whose very nature is healing. A new season is beginning. I step into it in faith, without fear. I am loved. I am seen. I am equipped. I am not too late. I am going to be more than okay. And it is so. If you have never made a personal decision to place your life in the hands of the God this message has been describing, today is a good day for that. Not because of pressure. Not because of fear. But because of what you have just heard about who He actually is, the God who sees, who hears, who protects, who restores, who keeps, who loves. You don't need a perfect prayer. You don't need the right circumstances. You just need to come honestly. God, I want to know You. I want what You have for my life. I bring what I have. I receive what You offer. That is enough. It has always been enough. If you made that decision today, type family in the comments. You are now part of something that goes beyond this video and extends into eternity. And heaven celebrated the moment you decided. Like this video if it brought something valuable to your spirit. Every like helps this message reach someone else who may need it exactly as much as you did. Subscribe to this channel if you want to keep receiving messages like this one. Hit the bell icon and turn on all notifications so you are the first to receive the next word. And share this video with one person in your life who needs it. Think of who came to mind while you were listening. Send it to them today. Be the angel who shows up with bread and water for someone sitting exhausted under their tree. You are going to be okay. More than okay. Now go walk in it.